Jake Brown, welcome to the Sport Profile.
Thanks for having me on.
How are you doing today, given that the Mets have won a couple games and we have some slightly better pitching?
The Mets are off today, so we won today. Any off day has become a win for the Mets, and you cherish it, and your night is not ruined. You can enjoy a social evening with friends, family, loved ones, dogs, pets. You could go play pickleball, which I've been doing here in the streets of South Jersey. I've become a retired old man playing pickleball.
I love pickleball.
Passion. It's addicting.
It's so much fun.
I thought Diet Coke was my addiction. Now it's Diet Coke, and then after a game of pickleball is my addiction. So it's helped me get in better shape. I think I lost a few pounds. I still eat pretty unhealthy, but I try to offset it with some pickleball. So
I feel like Diet Coke before pickleball would be like a messy scenario, but like a Diet Coke after a pickleball, like rewarding.
I've done it lunchtime and then played 2 hours later, but then I will have a second one. So I'm trying to cut back on it.
Sure.
But yes, the Mets. In the end, it's just October. Just get in and then see what happens. I think too many people are focusing on results against certain teams when the reality is those teams they might lose to are not going to sniff the playoffs. And they're beating teams that are going to be in the playoffs, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that like kind of duality, because it's like you should be beating the teams that you're losing to and not the teams that are like better than you, but I mean, hey, you're winning against the good teams that you're gonna see in October. I feel like I want to ask this question to every Mets reporter. Why do they cause us so much pain?
Yeah, I mean, it started with them just being cheap in the coupons, and now you have money, and you're like, well, things are fixed as you have money. Well, the saying, money doesn't fix everything. I like Steve Cohen money. I think it would fix my life a lot if I had Steve Cohen money, for sure. I just retire and delete all my social media and just travel the world.
Just go off the grid.
Yeah, I mean, if I had $21 billion, I don't know if I would do as much work as these people do. Just take the money and go and just live in oblivion. So, I don't know why, but I don't know. This team is a lot more hateable than last year's. Last year's team, I always said, like, saved my life. Like, last year's team and the end, what they went through, how I got laid off and I had to move from New York. Like, what that team did was special for me, and I think for everyone. Just the OMG. I was at the game. I was first row behind the Mets dugout during the concert. I saw everything right in front of my face. I saw the families. So that last year was special. This year, it's definitely less likable players on this team, but still enough talent that they could win it all. And you don't have to be that likable. We still love the team overall. And if they win a ring, they win a ring. And I haven't seen it in my life. So 40 years next year. You really got to do the math now. It's getting to the point where you have to compute the math. 86, 2026. So next year would be the 40-year anniversary. So if they don't do it this year, maybe it happens next year. But I'd like to do it before the 40-year anniversary.
Yes, it feels appropriate. It feels appropriate to do it before the 40-year anniversary. I do think like some of the Mets younger guys are definitely going to be a little bit more likable and have a lot of the personality, like McLean and Tong and the third pitcher. Yes, Sproat.
Sproat should be here any day.
I've literally pronounced his name 4 different ways over the last 2 days. I've called him Sprout. I've called him Sparrow. It's Sproat.
Yeah, it's Sproat. It's not Sbarro. It's not the world famous New York pizza joint or your local your mall food court joint at Roosevelt Field Mall in Long Island. It is Sproat. He should be here soon. They're reporting that the Mets are considering him. I expect the next week. The reality is the next 7 games determine who the Mets are. 3 in Cincinnati, 4 in Philadelphia. They could either bury the Reds, get the Reds back in it, and they could either be buried by the Phillies or get back in the division race. So next Thursday night, I'll be at the game likely in Philadelphia. I live 20 minutes from the stadium, so nice. The one good thing about the Philly area, when the Mets come to town, I got to go. Next Thursday at 10:30 p.m., we'll know who the Mets are and what the rest of the season might look like. So I think that's why we need this off day today, because the next 7 days are going to be very stressful. Like, these are critical games when you talk head-to-head against division team, the team behind you. Now the Giants, by the way, who have an incredibly easy schedule, have leapfrogged the Reds, are in a 4-out. So watch out for the Giants. That offense is scary in San Francisco. A lot of power hitters. So Mets have another team to worry about, and mind you, they play like the Diamondbacks, the Rockies, the Cardinals. They have a very easy schedule, so they could sneak their way back in it. But yeah, next 7 games, buckle up, enjoy the ride. We'll see McClain and Tong back to back this weekend, which I think is cool to have them back to back days. And then you'll have Sean Manaea for 3 2/3 innings on Monday in Philadelphia. But yeah, bright things are on the horizon, and their farm system voted #1 by ESPN, which
I
we
saw.
thought notoriously was a Mets hater, and they voted the Mets farm system #1. So the future is very bright in Mets land.
Yeah. I haven't looked at like probable pitchers, but how poetic do you think it would be if McClain went against DeGrom in the Ranger series?
Yeah, I'd have to. I don't know how Texas lines up. I think for the Mets, he's going to. What's cool is there is a chance he pitches that Saturday, which is Old Timers Day, which is the Alumni game. So I'm supposed to go to that.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, I'm going, and then I'm supposed to go to the Bananas game that day too. So I'm probably going to leave after the Old Timers play, and then miss the actual game. Yeah, I think there's a shot. He's definitely going to go that series. I have a feeling DeGrom's going to out a little bit and not want to pitch in New York because he hates New York and he doesn't want to get booed off the mound. But now you got me thinking. Now I'm like, all right, I kind of want to see the matchup because it would be cool if they face each other because they're very similar. Like the facial hair, the demeanor, the delivery, they're very similar, both of them.
And some of the like upcoming stories too. Was DeGrom a homegrown prospect? Or we acquired him from somebody, I thought, right?
No, I think he was homegrown.
He was?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, McClain definitely is. And, something I also wanted to ask you, to transition a bit, from the Mets is a lot of people know you as a Mets podcaster. And I'm curious why podcasting is so, I know you have a background in radio as well. What about podcasting seems so pure to you, and like why do you feel that form of media like you enjoy the most?
Well, I always wanted to be a host in WFAN since I was 7 years old. That was the goal.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet. Maybe it still happens one day. I had an interview. I was in the running to host the night show that Keith got. Didn't get it. Been a guest 4 or 5 times, but now and recently I changed from Jake Brown Radio to Jake Brown Live because radio is it's a dying platform. And I think it'll always be alive, but there's no money in it. Everything radio is digitalized. Every radio show is now a podcast. And most people don't consume it, especially me. I don't have a car, so I don't really listen to the radio. Like I'm all online digital. So, I got into it in 2014 with CBS. They launched a network called Play.it. And Ric Flair was on there, Rap Radar. They had some A-list names. And then Jake Brown. I was like, I'm with the big boys now at 23, 24 years old. So, right out of school, my 20s, I was getting to interview like A-list names because I was in this company with the three magical letters. And that got me, my dad always said the power of the pen will get you places. And that's kind of how I started with writing. But I always wanted to be a broadcaster and still trying to be. But yeah, I mean, I think now it's become extremely oversaturated. There's a lot of people that just do shows to do shows. The ones that invest a ton of money sometimes get ahead. The ones who talk about things that, you're not going to make your mom and pops proud are the ones that get ahead. So, yeah, I just think podcasting is cool because it's just you're not restricted to that 12-minute segment and then going to the commercial. You can really let it rip. You get people to really open up their minds. You kick back, relax, have a cup of coffee, and tell it how it is. So I just think it's more flexible. It's more open. It feels like it reaches more people. Like a radio show, yes, if you watch on the app or listen on the app. Podcasts reach anyone who's online, anyone who with a phone, anyone who's on Apple, Spotify. They can listen or watch you wherever you go, which I think is kind of cool. And obviously with radio, you could do that too. But I don't know, something cool about it. It'll always be something that I'm passionate about.
I felt that way too. I've listened to a variety of podcasts, in addition to yours, and I've always just been fascinated by how different, or I've been fascinated by the similarities and differences that podcasting has with radio, and it's to me it seems a bit more casual than radio, and that's kind of probably why I like it more. And I mean, I told this to somebody the other day, but like the reason I started at the sport profile again was just because I wanted to do what I know how to do. And I kind of see that in yourself a little bit. You have, Mets Daily right now. Like, you've been doing podcasting for so long. Is there a period in time where you've maybe said to yourself, like, hey, podcasting is the way to go for me, at least for right now?
I've thought it could be for a while, but as time's gone on, and especially this last year, I don't think it is. And, I'm in a weird point in my career where I've debated, I don't know, say hang it up, but do it less. Like, even now with Jets season, I don't really have a plan in place. I did Jets Flight Club last year with Eric Coleman. He kind of bowed out after like a month. The Jets were pretty much done. And then I did it solo with guests, and I did the Jet Show with the Post. The network I launched that podcast network, was there 5 years, hosted the Jet Show for I believe 4 years with Brian Costello. So I'm in a point weird right now with the season a couple days away. I don't really have a plan in place. I'm debating not doing Jets content. So I think what it's about is really just making it more of a broader scope. I just think the overall just doing a show on a team is just so oversaturated. There's a million. Jake Ashman dominates the Jet space. I don't know if anyone dominates the Mets space, but there's a lot of Mets content creators. But there's just so many for each team that I think that's become oversaturated. So I don't know really. My goal is always to be like a Francesa, a Stephen A., maybe even a Jimmy Fallon. Like, I love the entertainment lifestyle stuff. That I've interviewed a lot of actors, rappers, artists. Rappers want to be ballers. Ballers want to be rappers. I jokingly would freestyle rap a lot and was decent at it. So there was a point in my life, hey, maybe if I had to write autotune and producer, I could maybe rap. That never happened. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do it. There's going to be a point where I just hang it up. I've kind of transitioned a lot to live streaming. I'm on TikTok live every day and doing, soon I'll be doing like TikTok shop and kind of live streaming in general on YouTube. I think that's kind of where everything's headed versus a general 40-minute podcast. What's good about Mets Daily, it's 10 minutes. Like I always say, you could sit in the toilet, watch it. You might still be wiping your butt, and you're still in the toilet. The show hasn't finished yet. So that's the cool thing about it. It's like a short nugget size. And I find that kind of works because you're not yapping too much like I usually do. You cut yourself off, 10 minutes, boom, we'll see you tomorrow. And it leaves people, hey, I'll come back tomorrow for 10 minutes. Sample size, people's attention spans are just so, and I can attest to it. My attention span is not long either. I definitely have ADHD. Like,
Same.
I'm seeing a doctor next week trying to get prescribed because I've kind of lived without any kind of medication for it and just raw dogged life with it. And it hasn't worked well for me. So as you can see, like my eyes are all over my attention. So yeah,
So
I'm
relatable.
yapping a lot about a lot of things, but yeah, the real answer is I don't think I'm going to do it forever, and I'm figuring out the transition from podcast into this kind of streaming world.
Nice. Yeah, that's also something I've really admired about you is because, you and I have spoken about like, what the last year has been like for you, but you've been so adaptable, and that's another thing that like I've, really admired and looked up to you for. You've been very adaptable where you do so many different beats. And I'm curious, what made you want to, if you have like, I know baseball is like a really big love of yours, but I also really want to talk about like the Savannah Bananas a little bit.
Yeah, it randomly kind of came up. There was an opportunity to write for On SI, and they have all sorts of, like, I can't call it Sports Illustrated. It's On SI. There's a whole thing that if you put Sports Illustrated, they could let you go. It's like bizarre, the transition that's going to happen with the company and behind the scenes there. But yeah, I think it's been cool. It was something unique. I went to a Bananas game a few years ago. I was I'm still friends with her. Friends with a girl who was dating one of the players, so she got free tickets. She brought me. to the game in Staten Island, and it was one of my handful of times in Staten Island, one of the worst places on earth. Most New Yorkers have been to Florida more than they've been to Staten Island, and I can attest that I think I've been to Florida more times than I've been to Staten Island. I went back for a Ferry Hawks game in that building.
Nice
Figueroa
stadium.
threw me BP, and it's a nice view. The food is trash, and the stadium's average, but the view is great of the water.
Yeah.
Got to call like a half inning of a game, which was
Hmm.
cool. My guy had me in the booth, and um, so that was fun. But yeah, so that's how I kind of discovered them. I met Jackson Olsen, who was one of the stars of the team at when I was covering. I got credentialed for MLB All Star Week with the Post in 2022. I think we had a live show with Joel and John that I produced, and we were in LA, and I met this guy Jackson. I don't think he was on the team yet, but he had a big social media following, good looking dude. I was like, I got to party with this guy. um, so we just connected, cool dude. I think I met him, and then at this party they were doing like massages, and I got a massage at a party with like a vodka in my hand and was getting like a professional massage my shoulders. I was like, wow, you're getting all the knots out. So, anyways, this is why I say I could write a book. Um, and I met him, and I was like, oh, cool dude. Anyway, he gets on the bananas. The girl dates the guy on the team. I go to a game. I'm like, wow, the game's really fun, and that was at a 5,000, 6,000 person park.
Yeah.
Got credentialed recently, and I just started writing for them at the Philly Stadium. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like 42,000 people. They're singing, they're dancing, they're throwing donuts in the crowd. They're
Oh my
trying to
goodness.
catch foul balls. It's an experience. And the fact, we talk about short attention spans. It's a 2-hour clock. So the game ends after 2 hours,
Yeah.
which I think is genius because, a lot of kids, they get restless. 3-hour game. You have people leave early. If you're leaving a 2-hour game early, then you should just stay inside. If you can't hang outside for 2 hours, then just stay home.
Yeah.
Because that is not a long sample size, but it's 2 hours of fun. And I remember leaving, and an old guy was like, "Oh, there was so much It might not be the best if you're a senior citizen. There is a lot happening, but if you're someone like us who has a short attention span, who is doing all these things, there's so much happening that I loved it. I'm a big musical guy. My brother did plays. I grew up, from New York seeing musicals. It's like a weird fact about me. Love Mamma Mia, one of my favorites.
Really?
My all-time favorite is Mamma Mia, but they do a lot of like kind of show tune stuff, and me and Jackson bonded over being big musical theater kind of guy. I didn't do musical theater, my brother did, so I lived through him. I was more the sports guy, but I do love seeing a good musical. And yeah, opportunity came up, and I haven't done many articles. So there's so much happening with them, and I handed so many different baskets. But the hope is that September 4th, next Saturday, the day of Old Timers Day, that I'll be credentialed for Bananas at Yankee Stadium, which would be pretty sick to be on the
Wow.
field for that. I've been on the field, City Field. I don't think I've been on the field at Yankee, maybe once, but the hope is I go to that, and yeah, it was really an opportunity to be able to cover them in person, get to go to these games because listen, their wait list is 3.5 million people. It's hard to get tickets.
I
It's
was
not
gonna
cheap if
say.
you're trying to get them, and they try to limit selling them on the secondary market because they
Yeah.
want to keep them to the fans at a certain price. But getting in is not easy, so it's been nice to get in. We'll see how much longer I do it, but yeah, they're a social media craze, so I figured I'd hop on the bandwagon.
How hard is it to get tickets then? If it's like I know you said they try to like not have them on the secondary market, but like
I saw some tickets on like TickPick the day of for like around 100. I was told by someone that like they could restrict the sale or something because they don't want to resale. I haven't got confirmation on that, but I know they kind of watch that market. I mean, there's always tickets secondary market. Like
Yeah.
I'm in the camp of I will never get tickets before day of game.
Sure.
I only get tickets like 20 minutes before a game starts. Like I think that's the best price. People are dumb who buy them when they first go on sale. I think that's actually the worst time to get them.
I agree.
But listen, I won't give everyone the tricks of the trade. They let them go to their stupid ways and pay more money. If they got the money, I don't. So I would rather pay the cheaper price. So yeah, it's you go on the wait list, and then you got to hope for the secondary market, and then on the list or whatever they'll pick people, and you got to win. It's kind of like winning the Mega Millions last night is winning Bananas tickets. So it's
Did
definitely not
anybody
easy.
win the Mega Millions, by the way?
I didn't check. I know my parents were getting tickets, and I was like, I'm gonna need 50% of that if you guys win, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I know my dad was talking about it. I think I saw a ticket on the counter. Yeah, I don't know. He's a religious player. for the lottery and Mega Millions especially.
Well, they raised it to like $5 a ticket. I thought it was like $5 now, or Powerball. I don't know. One of them's $5.
Yeah, one of them's 5.
It's absurd.
I
They're
know.
stealing money from people. That's ridiculous.
One of them's I think it used to be like $1.
It was all yeah. I mean, it used to be $1, $2 most.
Yeah.
5 for one ticket when you have a 1 in 5 billion chance of winning. That's
Right.
They're taking your money.
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean, even
when
if
you get 1 or 2 numbers right, you get like $4 back. They're like, here, you're gonna lose $1 even though you got 2 numbers. It's like,
Yeah,
okay.
no, exactly. And then there's some people who think they're upping their chances by grabbing like 10 tickets, spending $50, and it's like you still have like extremely low odds.
Yeah, it's a sham. It's sad. But that's
Hey,
public.
it's fun. It's fun to just see.
It is fun. Yeah.
There's something I do wonder about. What was you're obviously, you're known as a Mets podcaster, you're known as a Mets content creator, you're a fan of the team, obviously. What was your first memory of, the New York Mets when you were growing up?
Well, it's kind of sad. The first year in '98, I was a Yankee fan because my family was. I moved from New York when I was 7. So when I moved from New York is like when I became a Mets fan, which is kind of weird. It was like the first friend I made in Connecticut in '98 going into the '99 season. I always remember his name was Greg, and we would just watch Mets games together, and I fell in love with orange and blue. They had fun players, and I became a Mets fan. But I remember, I think when I was 7, '98, probably first grade in '98 before we moved to Connecticut in the summer of '98. I remember I think I got a Derek Jeter Scholastic Book Fair poster, and now I would burn that poster. A year later, I would burn it. But we went to Shea as a kid growing up. I always remember going to Shea, and I always remember like a date, like May 8th, 2000. My mom got me tickets to Mets Giants because I finished in like 5th place in the spelling bee. I got out on the word research.
Really?
REA search instead of RE search. I'll never forget. I forget what I had for lunch yesterday, but I always remember that I spelled research wrong.
Yeah.
But I just remember loving Shea and just walking up to Shea. We were driving from Connecticut. One year we had the Saturday plan. Otherwise, we would just get individual games, but probably go to 10 to 15 games a year. And sometimes we'll go to a sports card show in Westchester and then go to the game. It was a night game. We did that a bunch on Saturdays. If it was like a 7 o'clock game, go to the show like 11 a.m. to 3 or 4, and then go to the game. We get a Mori pizza. It was like a tradition.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love. And I didn't really go Yankee growing up. Maybe they didn't want me going to the Bronx, but it was basically that one, like maybe even half a year, '98, because my family, I grew for the Yankees. I'm like, okay. And then I think it was just my first friend I made. I made the switch in Connecticut. And shout out to Greg. He ended up moving to Virginia.
No way.
Yeah, I don't know where he is now, but Greg Ammon was his name. And,
Dude, shout out Greg, man.
Shout out Greg. He changed my life for the worse. So that's Greg. Listen. I think think about it. Like, yeah, you would have won 2,000 Yankees, but then after that, they only won 1. So it's not like in my lifetime being a Yankee fan would be that much better. Yes, they would have won a lot more, but it's not like they've been won endless champion. They've won one other championship after that. So it's been fine being a Mets fan. It really teaches you loyalty and grit. But yeah,
a lot of humility.
Yeah, I just loved walking up to Shea and the song that would come on. It wasn't the original Meet the Mets, but it was like the '80s version
With the organ.
Yeah, but it was a different. It was I don't know. It wasn't really the organ. It was like a more modern version. I wish I'm gonna look it up on YouTube later now because now I want to remember what it sounded like.
Yeah,
but walking up and hearing that, and I was just so happy. And those are the days I would accept getting a hot dog. Now I'm like, give me a lobster roll and a steak sandwich. Now I'm a bougie. Younger Jake would punch current bougie City Field Jake in the face because I was used to sitting up top or mezzanine or loge, but now I'm like bougie. It's like, all right, Clover Club, Delta, sweet. What are we doing? But yeah, it's kind of just grown from there. And the goal is always talk Mets for a living. Now, FanArts thinks if I keep going Mets Daily a few years that it could be like a full-time thing, so they want me to keep it going. We'll see. I don't think that's going to be the case. Also, talking about the Mets every day, almost 365 days a year, will drive you out a window.
Yeah.
so I'm reaching that point. But yeah, it's I love the Mets. That's my passion. I've covered the Jets 5 years too. I was in the Knicks locker room covering the Knicks for SNY's The Knicks blog. I've covered the Giants with Lawrence Tynes. Blue Rush was a pretty popular show. We had the #1 Rangers podcast, New York Rangers. So
Yeah.
I've kind of done all New York sports. Mets are definitely one, but I do love the Jets and Knicks too. Hockey not as much, but Jets and Knicks too. So listen, it's been cool to get to interview all my heroes. I'll say that. But yeah,
Totally.
it always came back to the Mets as #1.
I love that so much. So, Jake, the last question I want to ask is, something I've asked everybody who comes on this show, and that is, just professionalism aside, like just you as a person, what's something you like most or admire about yourself?
I admire my passion and work ethic. I think no matter what the show, when I get behind the mic, there's very few people that are more passionate and I feel as good as I am when delivering a show. I just think I'm good at it. I don't do many things well. I've learned how to cook from HelloFresh. I've got better with cooking. I could zest a lemon here and there.
Ooh.
I could freestyle rap if my mind is elevated a little bit. Otherwise, I get behind a mic and I think I am passionate and I know what I'm talking about. I pride myself on sounding knowledgeable, being knowledgeable, and I watch the games. I think you could read, a BSer who tries to do this every day when they don't watch games and go by box score. I used to work with a host who I could tell went by the box score, did not watch the games. I think watching the games, and you can miss games, especially this year. I've missed a couple Met games here and there, but I pride myself on watching, knowing what happened at that moment, knowing that pitching change, knowing what happened here and there that highlights won't always tell you. So I think I'm most proud of my passion, work ethic, commitment. I mean, to be in this 11 years and still be trying to keep going and not quitting, I think is a good sign. So those will probably be the top ones.
I love that so much, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. It's really great to, hear your story, commiserate about the Mets, and, hopefully we'll be talking Mets baseball more in deep October.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was good to finally chat. I always see your stuff and your LinkedIn and likes and everything, and I appreciate the support. Appreciate you with the kind words about me, and let's keep grinding, bro. That's the only thing we can do is just grind away. There's nothing else we can do, so let's keep grinding, and let's go Mets.
One day at a time. LFGM. This episode is brought to you by Digital Sport by Hot Paper Lantern, a division of the PR, brand, and marketing agency Hot Paper Lantern. Digital Sport by Hot Paper Lantern helps brands grow at the intersection of sports, tech, and gaming. Learn more at hpldigitalsport.com or find them on LinkedIn at Digital Sport by Hot Paper Lantern.